All right, let's talk about the women, guys, because there's been this narrative like over the years. Oh, nobody wants to watch women's sports. Nobody wants to watch women's basketball. These stadiums are full. Like the TV ratings are outstanding. That Iowa Louisville game the other night rated higher than any NBA game on ESPN this entire year. So people are watching women's basketball. There's no question about that. Britt, we got a great matchup. South Carolina and Iowa. Obviously, Dawn Staley, South Carolina, undefeated, dominating all year. But now they got to go against Caitlin Clark and Iowa. How do you see this one playing out, Britt? This is going to be a great game.
Before I answer that question, no, it's a lot of people out there that wants to watch women's basketball, but I think marketing has a lot to do with that, and the businesses and people who's putting the money into market women's basketball. They want to market men's, but that's a whole nother conversation. We'll get into that. Maybe I'll save that question for next week. But anyway, like I always said, the best basketball to watch is women's basketball. They play the game right. It's not just iso ball. They play the game right. But this game, it's going to be a tough one, guys. I'm a little I'm slightly nervous. Caitlin Clark came out and played like no other. That game, she looked like she could have played in the NBA. That series, she looked like she would have been a better version of Luka in that last game. Shoot the ball, assist, go and get rebounds. They could not stop her at all. I'm still gonna go with South Carolina because I think defense. Again, I always keep falling back on defense, and South Carolina is an exceptional defensive-minded team. All credit to Dawn Staley. Aaliyah Boston, Zaya Cook, all those girls. I can't think of the big girl that comes off the bench. I can't think of her name right now. She's big in that paint as well. We're getting rebounds. I think that's what it's going to come down to because we know lately South Carolina tends to have those slow starts, but they always stay afloat or come back because of their defense. I think Caitlin Clark will still get her shots, but I think they'll be able to slow her down just slightly. You can't slow her down so much. She's literally, like you said, the Steph Curry of women's basketball, so college basketball. But I think South Carolina's going to take this one.
Yeah, that's a good call. I mean, I could go on forever about Caitlin Clark and just how good she is and all the different ways she affects the game, and she obviously does. But the other thing about Iowa that's nice, like if you have to double Caitlin Clark, like they've got four other people on the floor that can absolutely shoot the three ball. That could be a problem for South Carolina. I really think it could. But Britt, to your point, I think top to bottom, South Carolina just has a better roster. Like they play 10, 11 girls. They're just deeper than Iowa. Their defense is obviously outstanding. And the size in the middle. They just bring a bunch of girls off the bench that are really tall, and they really get you with their size. So I think it's going to be a really entertaining game. I agree. Caitlin Clark will get hers, but I think South Carolina wins the game in the end because of their defense and their depth.
I think the key to beating Iowa, because Caitlin Clark her basketball IQ is exceptional, so she understands how to play the game. South Carolina has to play those lanes properly, meaning you playing defense. You cannot come too far over. You have to be in the right position at all times. You have to play those passing lanes properly, properly. Because if not, she's going to kill you. She's going to shoot it, or she's going to have two options. I've been watching her games. Two options to two different players that she's going to pass that ball to. So they have to really be paying attention. Everybody has to stay focused.
Yeah, she's a great passer, no question. K-Wall, who you got?
Yeah, I think that to Brittany's point, I just think that the key to beating Iowa is just locking Caitlin Clark in the bathroom or the bus they come in. I mean, that's just don't let her off the bus. Don't let her in the building. She is a monster, man. And I put in our thread earlier today. I think that what has to happen for South Carolina is they have to start fast, because if they start slow, and Caitlin Clark starts fast, that combination equals trouble for South Carolina. I just don't. I mean, because Caitlin Clark can do more than just score. She can facilitate,
Yeah.
as you guys alluded to. So, and like you mentioned, Jay, they can hit threes. If she gets open and they pay too much attention, you could pay attention to Caitlin Clark without paying too much attention to her. And I think that I think Dawn Staley is going to devise up a plan, because they have the athletes to do that, and Dawn Staley has the smarts in order to do that. As good as Caitlin Clark is, I think overall, I think just like you mentioned it earlier, Jay, in our thread as well, is that the depth of South Carolina is ultimately going to overwhelm the remaining teams and the remaining two teams in this in this tournament. And I said the remaining two teams, so that means I think that South Carolina is going to beat Iowa, even with the immaculate play of Caitlin Clark, and then whomever they play between Virginia Tech and LSU. I know we'll get into that in a moment, but I'm going to go South Carolina. I just think they're just destined to do it. You mentioned destiny, Jay, so I'm going to go South Carolina here.
Yeah, I just really think they have a better team. Go ahead, Britt.
I was going to say this. We talking about how South Carolina has to defend Caitlin Clark, but let's not forget Iowa has to defend Zia Cook, Aaliyah Boston, which is not an easy task whatsoever.
No, I don't see any defense being played in this game, Britt. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a really high-scoring game, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and if I'm South Carolina, whoever Caitlin Clark is guarding, I might go at her early. See if you can get her, pick up a couple fouls, something, just to kind of get her off her game. So I might try to attack her early and see if you can get anything out of that. All right, so we all like South Carolina there. What about the other game, Virginia Tech and LSU? I did have LSU in my Final Four. I don't know. I'll pick this one first. I'm going to take LSU. I think we'll get an all SEC final. Wow. Virginia Tech is really – I didn't realize how good Virginia Tech actually was. I've watched them the last few games that they played. They're impressive. But I just think LSU is battle-tested, well-coached. You've talked about Angel Reese on here many times, Britt, and what she does from a double-double standpoint. I'm going to take LSU in that one. But, Britt, who you got?
Virginia Tech is not going to be easy at all. Elizabeth, I think Kitley, I think she's their most consistent scorer. But the thing is, they have shooters surrounding her, which is, and they you underestimate them, they will shoot lights out. But I think Angel Reese is such a force down low. It is going to be hard to, first of all, keep her off of the boards, offensive boards and defensive boards, and then trying to stop her from scoring is going to be a task. And then you look surrounding her. I can't think of the young lady's name. I think she plays that 4 position. But it's usually between her, Angel Reese, or her that goes and get those rebounds. And she could also score a little bit as well. And I keep going back to that freshman, Flau'jae Johnson. I know last game she struggled a little bit, but that's normal. You're going to struggle. You're going to have good games, not so good games. But that girl can shoot. Like, she can shoot, she hustles, and she plays tough defense. So I got to go with LSU on this one. I think it's going to be close, but I'm going to go with LSU.
Okay, Walk, I feel like you might go the other way on this one. Who you got?
I like Vitek here, man. I mean, I do like Vitek here, man. LSU is great, man. I mean, I did have Villanova beating. And I'm looking at my last Final Four. I had Villanova in the Final Four, but Vitek, after watching them, I agree with everything Brittany just said. Rebounding is key, and not just this game, but in every game. And I think that Vitek has the advantage there. And when that happens, you get second chance. You get second chance. You get second chance points, of course. Sometimes third chance points. And then you eliminate the second chance points for the opposition. So I'm going to go Vitek here, man. I think Vitek gets it done. I think this is going to be probably the best game out of the two. So I'm going to go Vitek here, though.
Yeah. I think out rebound Angel Reese.
I think collectively they will. I don't know if one person can do it. I know Britt, but she's one person. She's one person.
No. The other girls around her will get, like LSU, her teammates get rebounds also. But Angel Reese herself can get 20 to 25.
No,
wins.
I'm not. No, but I
Crazy.
think that collectively, I think they'll crash the boards, knowing everything that you're just saying. I think they know that, and that's what they'll come together, and everyone will crash the boards.
I agree with you, Kay. I do think this will be maybe the more competitive game from a scoring standpoint. I think South Carolina, Iowa will be more entertaining, but I feel like South Carolina might pull away from that one in the second half, whereas you could see this one probably coming down to the wire. So
I think the national championship is going to be the Iowa and South Carolina game. I just think that. So whoever wins that game is going to come.
You think whoever wins that is going to win it all?
Yeah, in my wholehearted opinion.
Yeah. So Britt, K Walk's got South Carolina as his champ. I do as well. Is this a no-brainer for you? Is it Dawn Staley in South Carolina when it's all said and done?
Real quick, just to go back to the LSU game. Another thing I like about LSU is not talking about who wins. I like how they play. They play with so much fun, and they don't care. They be when I seen Angel Reese do the "you too small," I was like, "Oh yeah, they out there having fun." And when the team's having fun, they could be a little tough. But they just playing. But anyway, no, y'all, come on now, like really, y'all, you gonna ask me this question, Jay? You already know who I'm choosing.
Hey, anything could happen, Britt.
I'm going with Dawn Staley, South Carolina all day, every day, especially if they get past Iowa. And I'm hoping my finals is South Carolina and LSU because I want to see Aaliyah Boston versus Angel Reese. That is my dream matchup right at this moment. But I think I'm going to go with South Carolina.
Yeah.